Yo, yo, I'm doing good. How about you? How you doing?
Good, man. 1 minute. So, yeah, it's been a good morning. Got a lot done. Did some tweeting. Did all my GM tweets, and I did like I do a thing where I actually search for GM tweets and I say GM to people, and it's funny because whenever I search, I get the same like people that you know we talk to. Like, there's this one I found is called Wall Plug NFT, and we just chat on GM threads. So I definitely recommend it if you don't know. If you don't do that, it's just to talk to people. There's people chill. Anyway, yeah. So we started the space. Let me pin up the space so we can get it retweeted real quick. Yesterday was a great space. I was actually debating and thinking about like, should we just do part two because we really didn't get to talk about everything, but it's such a big topic.
Yeah,
We might,
yesterday's speech was really great.
yeah, we might
No,
do a
no, great.
part two in the future.
Yeah, sure, we can do it. And it was a really great topic, and because everybody has had really good things to share, so overall, like many people got to know uh, really important stuff that they didn't know before, and also networking that happened. Yeah, that was awesome yesterday.
Yeah, it was a super good space. Super disappointed we had a good. It went on so long, but it was such a good space. It was such a good vibe too. Like, everyone was chill, everyone was nice. So, but anyway, big homie, do you want to talk about the topic you suggested we talk about today?
Uh,
You want to like introduce it?
yeah, for sure. So I planted me and Safrudik spoke in the DMs, and basically I gave him a topic based on how people's journeys were. Like, how did you start? What was your process, and like what was the challenges you went on? Uh, you had along your journeys. Like, that's something to like speak about to get like give people the different perspectives. You know.
Oh, I kept missing the mic with my finger. But anyway, yeah, I definitely agree. It's a very good perspective topic to look at where you want to be, how far you've come, and what else you have to do to accomplish, how hard it's going to be, or how far. Like, it is a good perspective point. So I want to start with Fazy. Um, being the community manager of Safrudix, or in life general. This doesn't have to be tied down to your project. This can be anything in life. It can be like a career, anything. But where would you say you were, let's say 6 months ago? Where are you now, and where do you want to be? And then perspective on it all.
Okay, so yeah, really heavy question with a lot of history. Yeah, so basically, I start from this. I don't want to say beginning, but yeah, I have switched my careers a lot, not a lot, but a few times. Like I come from an accounting background, so I was an accountant before for a company locally in Pakistan, and then I was an auditor, and like I was going in that field. Then I switched to like I got an opportunity, so I became a banker, and then from banking, I got some interest in blockchain and NFTs. Like, it was growing, and everybody was thinking about it. So I was in here. So I actually got referred to Symphonics team um, from our development, one of the main lead developer. So the adoption of like this all the Discord things, like Discord, it was the first time like I was not a Discord user. So like I had to learn everything and understand all of the stuff about the NFT, the projects, and like it was really like everything was new and still new. Like it's still like I'm learning a lot still. And so basically that's where I am right now, like juggling two to three things. And like best thing is like I really enjoy about the Discord thing. Like I have to, do all of the stuff that's needed. And yeah, about that. Uh, any suggestions from the community members, yeah, those are welcome. But yeah, currently, like at this time, so from being an accountant and doing a conventional job, uh, doing now a community manager of this awesome project, it's really exciting. So yeah, having a lot of fun with all the things and this community, uh, the Web3 community, the NFT and gaming community. Yeah, that's awesome. So what about
Yeah,
you,
so
Zach?
yeah, I was just gonna come in there. I think you've came a long way, Faisy, especially like not knowing a lot and like being thrown into it. But I'm gonna go a little bit farther than 6 months just because I want to let you guys know my whole, like personally, my whole journey in Web3. So I started, um, I didn't even know about NFTs. I knew about cryptocurrency. That's it. So I started a podcast with two friends. You guys, some of you guys might not know, because accounts change, but whatever. I started a podcast with them. We called it Number One Crypto Podcast, and I was doing that for like 6 months. When we started, we had all our social medias, and like I was basically the social guy. I had to do all the social medias, interaction, build. Like we had the other guy doing all the editing, all the posting, and all crap like that. But I was like in charge of that. So I found Twitter, and I knew Twitter was something around, um, a little bit like more around cryptocurrency because like research and all that at the time. So I started in Twitter, and I was just going around, and I didn't know what Twitter Spaces was until like a month or two in. So I was just talking to people on Twitter, on like text and all that. So I actually found some Twitter Spaces. I went into them. I started learning about what NFTs are. I had no idea. So I started learning about NFTs. I found more interest, so I started researching NFTs and all the Web3 stuff. I still have no I have a little knowledge compared to a lot of people still, but I've learned so much in these like 9 months. But anyway, podcasts fell through, so I kept the socials because I was doing them, and that's my Polygon hoodie one. But anyway, yeah, I got invited to be part of this Supertix team because I was basically part of like the big Polygon community. I guess I'm like part of like the Polygon community host space because I host a lot of spaces on my personal on Supertix. But anyway, um, like where I am now, I've never would have expected 9 months ago that I would be part of a game, NFT, a GameFi project, in the crypto atmosphere. And some challenges, I guess, upon that was like, if you know nothing about NFTs or nothing about Web3 and you come into a space this heavily, like obviously about that topic, I think the challenge was like learning because a lot of this stuff is self-taught. There's a lot of courses out there now that you can take, which I'm going to take in the future. I just haven't had time. But like I had to be all self-taught, and I feel like self-teaching, like when you're self-taught, you learn more because you kind of have to retain it better. You're just not casually listening to a podcast or something. You actually have to focus and be like, okay, I need to understand this. So I feel like just taking that time to like learn on your own and making that time. So I feel like that was huge for me, and one of the biggest challenges. I didn't really have a challenge talking on spaces. I'm very charismatic, so that wasn't a huge challenge for me. But also in spaces, I guess another challenge was, all of us know this, but there was like a space etiquette. I didn't know that, so I just started talking. Didn't care about people muting or unmuting their mic like when I started. So definitely learned that with time. Like 4 spaces in, they're like, "Hey, man, you got to stop." So, I think that was just the biggest challenge is like learning about all this Web3 stuff for me. Also, maybe learning a little bit about like I'm learning more and more about marketing because I'm taking online courses on the side. So yeah, I mean, learning Web3 and learning marketing at the same time is fun, I guess, especially because it's so new. That there's not a lot of people that know how to do it yet efficiently without like paying promotions and all that. So, really just have to treat it like a Web2 community. So, anyway, big homie or golden, who wants to go next?
I think
Go
me.
ahead, big homie.
All right, I'll take a scan. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. So as I discussed yesterday, I'm not really into uh, NFTs and things like that. I'm more of a like just a pure content creation, and I started doing content creation. Let's say about a while in my high school career. And when I was in high school, I used to just play a lot of video games, talk, watch YouTube videos, and do them for fun and things of that nature. But while doing it, people were telling me, like, hey, why don't you like start streaming, do some YouTube videos? Because they found me like pretty entertaining. And I'm like, I'm leaning towards it, maybe not. But eventually, I started just getting into streaming. Started streaming on my Xbox, getting like the little attention, people seeing me, people liking it. So I was like,
Big homie, you're rugging.
Yeah, I think he rugged. What is it? Last night, Twitter was so crazy. We were hosting our late night space, um, and we rugged so hard. Music started playing. Like Twitter was playing music from the app that we didn't know. None of the people in the space had it on speakerphone or at all. There was only like 3 or 4 people in space, and we all were talking, and none of us had music on. And Twitter was playing music. We thought we thought it was like because Twitter is trying to fix spaces, they're trying to add more spaces a lot of time. So we think we got one of those random glitches where like maybe they want to add music to spaces soon. So yeah,
no, no,
Twitter's
no,
been odd for me. You're good now, big homie. You can continue.
cool. So, uh, yeah, so people were starting to tell me, like, oh, you can get paid from these things. And if you like go big with it, like you go very viral with it and stuff, because like I said, people was like actually finding me entertaining. So eventually I just started doing it just for the fun. And then I made my way. Then I was going to college. So when I got into college, I started doing it a little bit more because my school schedule was pretty easy. And basically, people, when I had got like affiliated, meaning like I can start like getting paid from on Twitch. So while getting paid from Twitch, of course, uh, got me like pretty stoked. I got my first little nice little paycheck from Twitch, and that started to like make me happy. So, but not only was getting paid from Twitch, and that was making me happy, but I was making even like other people happy because they found me entertaining, and I was like enjoying it. So that made me continue to keep going and keep doing it. Then Corona hit. Oh, Corona, tragic, tragic. So when Corona hit, that's when I actually like got into YouTube, and I started editing YouTube videos because like I had a lot of time on my hands that I could just do anything I want with it. And while doing YouTube, first month of me doing it, I hit my first 100 subscribers. Like first video, I got like 100 views or something like that. And then as I kept posting, the viewer count kept getting higher and higher. But I also, along the way, I like took a lot of breaks, and people was like explaining to me, "Yo, man, when it comes to like doing like these type of things, you gotta stay consistent or engage a lot. You can't just like go on and then like leave and not do anything, not keep any of your supporters posted, like not tell anybody what's going because you eventually people will just leave because they are looking forward to your entertainment, my content and stuff like that. So eventually I end up coming back, doing more videos, doing more streams. And recently, last school year, because I'm still in college, this year would be my senior year and I'll be graduating. And so while doing that, I ended up going crazy on Twitch, getting like a bunch of followers, and then this past summer I just decided to do YouTube, and along YouTube I'm about to hit 300 subscribers all in within like 2 months of me doing it. And yeah, I mean, along the way it's been like a hard process because you got to be very, like I said, interactive. You got to stay on top of it, be consistency, tell like your supporters what you got planned, things of that nature. Like I said, I don't do it for the money. And of course, along the challenges along the way is like time. You have to make time for these type of things. You have to be like, oh, when you gonna do this, when the next video is gonna come out, how much time you gonna be spending on editing. So it's a lot of things you have to look forward to it, while also like making sure your mental is strong. And since I enjoy it, my mental is pretty strong, and I like take my time. I spend time with my family. I go to work, have a good time at work. I don't work as hard. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at in my position.
Yeah, I feel like content creation, you have to be so consistent. But I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be consistent. But I think that's one of the huge things, and especially because you started posting during COVID, you probably got like fast tracked with your subscribers and views because like you were in the same boat with everyone else. They have nothing else to do. And a lot, I know a lot of people that only watch small people, like small YouTubers, because they don't like big YouTubers and all that. So they were probably just like in a peak. So that's amazing that you kind of piggybacked off that because, like, I took no advantage of the pandemic, like none. So I definitely am jealous of
Like
that.
honestly, when I started doing YouTube, like I said, I was only doing it for fun, and like when I seen my numbers was going up pretty fast, I was like, whoa, it's kind of like surprising me. And like during the pandemic, to be honest, during the pandemic, I wasn't even trying to do content creation for real because, like I said, I was like, I just had a lot of time on my hands. Like to be honest, I was looking for like work during that time, and I was like, man, I need a job. I want to work. And then I had just gotten back into school because I had like also took a semester off. And then the year I go back, they decided to say, oh, we're going on lockdown. We can't have you come back to school and stuff. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do now? Like I had so many things going for me, and then next thing you know, they just get cut off just because of the pandemic.
So looking back at that whole experience during the pandemic and where you started, what's I guess the biggest tip or like perspective you can take from that whole experience?
Um, I could say is that anything can happen. Like always keep in mind of there's millions of possibilities. Like I said, because the pandemic came out of nowhere. I mean, I knew like COVID existed, but being on lockdown is just something that I didn't think about. So try to like have some form of like something that can entertain you yourself, something that can keep you active, something to keep you busy. A lot of things can happen in the world. I honestly got into like working out, like fitness. So that's one thing you can keep in mind. Learning new things along the way. Like I wish I would have learned a lot more about NFTs during this time. Like you know what I'm saying? Like just keep in mind of all the different possibilities and the different things in the world that you can do with spare time that is just given to you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it's very important to stay doing something. Obviously, there's time you should always take for yourself and your family, just so you aren't, forgetting what's important. But at the same time, like, I really wish that I did something during the pandemic, like during anything, because there was so many, there's so much opportunity, in during that, and I could have, I do like video vlogs sometimes on YouTube. I used to do that stuff, but like even for like content creation of maybe growing my Twitter account because we all know that there was an influx of social media users during COVID because they had nothing else to do. Growing my Instagram account, anything like that. I just feel like I kind of missed out on that, but like I'm kind of building now. So I'm a little bit behind the eight ball, but on like that, but I really wish I did, I took that advice of like, seize the moment. But at the same time, I guess looking back at it, I wasn't in the same mindset as I am now. Like I didn't really care. I was just kind of, okay, I'll go to online class and I'll be done for the day and I'll just play games all day. So, or like I'll just, do something. But yeah, I definitely think that's a good perspective to have and a good mindset to have. So yeah, so welcome MetaHeads, welcome Twitter Bay, welcome everyone who joined. You guys are awesome for joining us back. We are talking about your journeys, so where you were, where you are, and where you want to be, and a perspective on all of that. So Golden, would you like to speak about your journey now?
My journey is longer than 6 months. All right, so let's see. Where should I begin? All right, I'll start off about 2020. All right, so 2020, I was working this nice job as a chemical engineer, basically quality assurance at this insulation factory. And I was getting like, I'm one of those people who game a lot. And I was getting extremely discontent with the video games I was playing. It's just because it felt like I was trying to play a game that I like that had like continuity or continuity. I guess is how you say it. Something that like all your moves like in the game, everything you did like meant something. I guess, and most of them, if not all of them, I felt are incomplete because I played a lot of MMO lights. Like I was playing like a lot of Destiny, a lot of the Division, a lot of Warframe and games of that nature. And along comes this game. This is before 2020, as a matter of fact. Along comes this game is Absolver, and Absolver was almost everything I ever wanted in a game. It just didn't have any continuity. It was all just like it had great PvP, but the PvE was terrible. And so I've been looking for a game for, I don't know, since like River City Ransom went out. And that's back in the 80s. I was a kid. And so I was like, I went to school for, like, I went to college to be a game programmer, but I did it, but I didn't really want to do it, let's say, because when you work in like for an actual company, you got to make what they want. And it has to be like completely profit driven. So fast forward to everything I just said. Um, I started making a game. I started relearning Unreal Engine, or actually learning Unreal 4 because Unreal 3 was just sucked. I was a Unity 4 developer for like I paid my way through college, like developing prototypes. So I ended up started working on this game. This would be almost like 2 years ago. I had to relearn a lot of things because I wasn't programming anymore. You know, once you stop doing something, especially like programming, you start to forget. So I forgot a lot. And so I focused on the gameplay first while working on the game design. And I was going to release it as a Web 2 game because most of my games actually done as far as what I want to show off as far as the combat prototype. And I was going to build like a Web 2 community. And then while I was at my job, I discovered a game called Zedrun. And I already knew about crypto because I traded crypto before. Like Bitcoin, Ripple, ADA, Stellar Loomis, IOTA. Like I traded a lot of cryptocurrencies in the past before they changed the tax laws. And Binance went from Binance to Binance USA. And so I started like streaming. I did a podcast on Twitch called Inside Zed Run. Zed Run's like a horse racing game on Polygon. And I was like, I got real discontent with that as well. But I was working on my game the entire time, and it was still always going to be a Web 2 game. Then one of my friends was like, you know what? Every one of your concepts works really well in Web 3, and it would give you that permeance sense that you always talk about. So I started like really looking into a lot of Web 3 projects just on the low, and I was like, you know what I have now looks better than 99% of the Web3 projects that I see. at the time. Like, because most of it was it just, to be honest, a lot of games out there look like crap. And so that's when I was like, a couple months ago, I was doing like advisory roles and writing game design documents. I'm under a lot of NDAs, so I can't really speak about a lot of my past work. But a couple months ago, I was helping out with a couple Web3 projects, and then um, I'm between jobs at the moment. Well, I'm doing some minor contracting work for somebody right now, but I was like, you know what? I should focus on my own game instead of just building a community instead of just dropping a game out of nowhere or dropping a prototype out of nowhere. Like, here, come play my game. I could, but it wouldn't go to the audience that it could get. So that was my journey. It was like part of it is for funding. Like my whole design philosophy as far as like making money, because we all want to make some money, but my whole philosophy behind making money would be just making enough to support like an average lifestyle, like what I was making as a chemical engineer, and then pouring everything else into the development, the continual development of the game, because I'm not a modeler or an animator or something. So I would either pay for mocapping or pay for somebody to animate and pay for modeling and texturing and stuff like that, or bring in a team and allow that to support a moderate lifestyle for anybody who would come on the team, so that we could just continuously develop a game or develop the game so that it goes forward. Kind of like how I don't know if you've all played Warframe, but their development strategy, like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that would be something I would like to do just in Web3.
Yeah, it seems like you've already, came a far distance from where you were, and people definitely see it. So one thing that I am super, I guess, jealous of is that you could relearn programming because I learned a little bit and I could not. Like, I learned the basics, like HTML, CSS, very, very, very minor JavaScript, very, very minor. Um, and that stuff's hard, man. So you were doing amazing at that. I just don't know. I always think about it. I'm like game dev seems very difficult because I have no idea how to do any of it. So I anyone who can do it, I'm like, congrats, man. So I feel like that's accomplishment alone is being able to just do that, man.
Yeah, I got a question. Like, so, like, on your process of like, because I don't know if you like had any knowledge on how to like do these type of things. Like, what would you say? Like, how hard was it to learn these new like skills in this like field that you're in? Like for me, example, when it came to like video editing, I had to take like time. Like me, I don't like watching like tutorials because some people they get like too in depth. I'd be like, man, just teach me the simple stuff. And but I would actually have to sit there and learn for like hours on how to like edit a video, edit like a specific type of video I want. Like so. Like, can you like give us some insight on that?
Well, for programming is different because I went to school for it. So it's not like I forgot I forgot everything. It's um learning it for me. It's more learning the engine and the API and what everything does. Because a lot of things that I've done, like the reason I keep taking forever to release is I keep learning how to do things better, and because I keep finding bugs, and bug fighting is probably the biggest thing. Because you know, I know C++. There's 48 keywords in C++ that allow you to do a lot of things. That you got arrays, you got different functions, and stuff like that. And so from there you can learn, as long as you know object oriented programming, you can really, really learn a lot. Like just it's basically just learning the game engine. And Unreal 4, which I really like, has this thing called blueprints. And it's basically visual scripting. Instead of actually programming it, you visually put things into place. And so that helped a lot as well. But I still know how to program. I just wasn't doing it.
Yeah, this is just going to prove how much I don't know about coding. When you said you do C++, I'm like, oh, he's talking about Notepad++. So that just puts it out there and how much I know. So
Well, no, Notepad plus plus is something that you could is something you could use to program on. It's like Visual Studios. Like I have Notepad plus plus. Like when I don't feel like turning on Visual Studios, because you can turn Notepad plus plus on in like seconds, whereas Visual Studios can take up to a minute at times, depending on how big your project is.
Yeah, all I know is like I use Notepad a little bit for web development and web creation, so like website design. So that's all I know for it, and I don't even know that much anymore because everything's so automated in the website dev now. But anyway, we have welcome troglodytes. So we're talking about a journey, like your journeys on where you were, where you are now, and perspective, and where you want to go. But before we go to Trog, Metaheads, what is you want to speak about your journey and perspective?
Not after that. My goodness, man. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to let Trog go. You know I ain't a gamer anyway, but I want to support you, my friend. That's for sure. But man, Golden, if I'd have known, I'd have followed you like years ago. Love it, brother. I love it.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be about gaming. Like I kind of talked about my personal journey into Web3, but yeah, we can go to Trog. Trog, do you want to talk about your journey?
Sound like I missed a lot. if Meherhead didn't want to go. But yeah, no, I can speak about our journey. Obviously, where we started and where we are today and where we see ourselves, hopefully by the end of this year, is obviously, like I keep talking about, the biggest mistakes that we ever made was not to build our community, not to let people know who we are. Like I said, you can have the best project in the world, but if people don't know who you are and what you're about, yeah, no one's going to mess with you. The best thing, unfortunately, you have to go to these spaces. You have to go to spaces to speak. And that was one of my biggest fear. Like public speaking, obviously, everyone does not like public speaking. As far as I know, people who I know anyway don't like public speaking. But yeah, you have to go out there and speak about your projects and speak about yourself and yeah, let people know who you are and what you're about. Obviously, you know where we started from. We started from Dave and Beluga's space. We went to a few other spaces before that, and we saw people were being so horrible to people. Literally, people were telling people off like for the smallest things. I think what people will have to realize is not everyone knows